everyone, my name is Katrina Chadwick and I am here today to film a vlog slash podcast to do with crochet and crafting items that I've been up to in the last 4 weeks-ish. I generally aim for the 4-week mark. The last couple have been a little bit over, unfortunately. The aim is always to get them a little bit less than the 4 weeks, but life, kids, all that sort of stuff. But thank you for coming back, and if you're new, welcome. Stay and watch, please. That would be delightful. I'm going to ask today that if you do enjoy the video, to subscribe, because I do appreciate the subscriber count, to know that my content, is enjoyed and is relevant. And then I'll obviously keep going and try my damnedest to get it all up and running sooner rather than later. I have a preschooler. I've got 2 boys and I'm pregnant with my 3rd currently. I am 21 weeks today, which is awesome. And today is Wednesday the 6th, 7th of May. Either way, it's very early in May. My phone I'm filming on, which is what I was looking forward to look at the date. And yeah, I'm extremely excited about this pregnancy. But it always means I have less time with 3 children, young children, well 2 young children and 1 coming. So 1 is sleeping currently and 1 is at preschool, so I've got a little bit of time to fit in today, so I'm looking forward to it. Mind you, I have been on the couch watching movies and just chilling, so could have got it done earlier. But just a little life update. So my last update video was probably 4 weeks ago, I think, possibly a little bit more. And since then, hubby and I went on a trip to Singapore, which was super exciting. So we went for 7 days. My mum watched our 2 boys and we hopped on a train and we went an hour and a half up to Sydney Airport, got on a plane and flew, and flew 8 hours to Singapore, and yeah, had this beautiful holiday. We stayed in the heart of the city pretty much. We stayed in little Chinatown, and we're just next to one of the train stations, so we trained it everywhere and it was beautiful, and we just had a really good time. It was hot, as everyone likes to point out to you. It was hot, and we just made our day mornings and late afternoon to nights, and it worked out really well for us. We could come back and refresh back in the room and sit in the aircon for a little bit. It was perfect. And we got to try all the hawker food, and went to the Gardens by the Bay, and I have a relative who's in a Commonwealth Memorial Park, and I'm sorry if you can hear my dog snoring. I've just noticed that he started snoring as I started filming. I have a pug cross Maltese Shih Tzu, so cross and cross there. So there's a cross between the 3 breeds, and he falls asleep and he's breathing because his nose is a little bit pushed up like a pug's is. He snores quite loud, so I'm sorry about that. And yeah, my trip was fantastic. So I only did a little bit of crocheting on the trip because I mainly did it when I was flying to and from, and when we were waiting for transfers or things like that. So yes, not a lot happened there in that week, and then took me a good half a week to a week to get back into our daily life here at home. Just, cupboards were empty, so I had to go shopping and get the kids back at school and all that sort of stuff. Well, they were already going to preschool, but me getting back into the routine of things always set me back a little bit as well. So I was probably not really crocheting for 2, possibly 3 weeks there, and then I just got my mojo back and was right into it. So I'll show you in the order of the things that I did finish, and then the projects that I've started, which isn't much at all, but I'll go through them in order. So as you can see, today's view lens is a little bit wider. I'm trying to get the perfect light. I've got clouds going over. It's autumn here. I'm in Australia, New South Wales, and it's sort of an overcast, yeah, that's a good way to describe it, like just an overcast day. So the clouds go constantly and you get really good light and then a little bit less. So move all this, and I'm just going to pop things on the ground. I've got them in reach because I can't reach over myself, and then I'll just pop it on the ground when I'm done. So the first item that I finished was the 3 Springs shawl by Addie Day Designs, who is Deanne Ramsey. The lady's name is Deanne, the designer, and she's here in Australia. She is located in Canberra actually, which is not that far away from me at all, which is awesome. And so it is a beautiful, I will put up a photo as well around this point of a further back full image, but it is a crescent shaped shawl, and I'm not going to try it on for you. I'm just going to sort of represent colours and things. And this is indie dyed yarn that I used for this one. So I'll hold this up a bit closer. So the yarn that I used, I did get ball bands out, but I wonder if I've just knocked them off. Let's have a look, see what I have done with my ball bands. That's not it. Oops. Put all this yarn. No, sorry, I've misplaced the ball band for this one, but I used Fibre Lily, which is an Australian indie dyer, and this beautiful like speckle with, it's a, I would say a pink, light pink or a light purple base with speckles of mustard, green, like a tealy colour, and there's even like a little bit of blue, but like purples, different shades of purples. It is called Carnival, and I used 2 skeins of that. 2 full skeins? No, I think I used 1.5. So there was that one. And then there's this beautiful sort of tealy colour that has 3 stripes in there. Now, the pattern that Deanne's pattern calls for 3 different colours. So you would use your main colour throughout, and then these 3 lines here break it up, and that's a contrasting colour, but not too contrasting, and then the edge would be a 3rd colour in and of itself. But I remember I saw the pattern, loved it, and I received it from a person, I can't remember what it's called, the Instagram stash sharing, love sharing event that happens throughout the year, one time every year. Oh, I cannot remember, it's on the tip of my tongue. Anyway, that so people bought me patterns rather than sending me yarn, because I think I'm a bit further away, which was lovely, and vice versa, I did the same. So I purchased quite a few patterns for people, which was absolutely lovely. And I can't remember what it's called now, it's going to come back to me at some point. But anyway, so I saw it and I loved it, and I received the pattern through as a gift through Avory. And when I was purchasing the yarn, I just loved the way these 2 went together. So I was happy with that, and I used 1 skein of this colour, and it did all 4 stripes, and I have obviously some left over as well. So that is my beautiful crescent shawl. Now, I have not blocked this. I've sewn in the ends, it's completely finished, and it's a beautiful, beautiful pattern. I was off in the stitch count. I was counting. I am notorious at counting for the first 50 rows, and then once it gets really big, because at one stage, like, you start in the center here, or somewhere around here, and then it gets progressively wider, so you get more and more stitches. And at one stage I had 300 stitches, and I just got lazy, couldn't be bothered counting. So when I would count, I would be 1 or 2 stitches off, and I just fudge it and add it in here or there or wherever, so that my rows and my waves in the rows were correct when it came down to ending. But by the stage where I was down here at the end and the final couple of rows, I really had to fudge the numbers a bit in the end. But no one will know that, only I know it. And I love this scarf, it's beautiful. So that is the 3 Springs shawl, I'm pretty sure she called it a shawl, by Deanne Ramsey, and it is Fibre Lily yarn. Oops. So there was that one. That was the first one I finished. I went to Singapore with this project and worked on it a little bit. And sorry, you're going to hear my cat now. My dog stopped snoring, but now you're going to hear my cat. We have a menagerie. So my chickens aren't inside, but I'm sure if my chickens were inside, they'd be like clucking away around me. Hilarious. So that is my 3 Springs shawl. Then I got really inspired. I was online on Ravelry trying to get back into all my crafting, and I found this pattern here. I'm just trying to, I only really need that first page, so I'll just show you this. This is called the Aureole Triangle Scarf, and it's by Hailey Bailey. Now I found, I think I was just randomly looking on Ravelry, searched in shawls just to see what would come up, what was new. The Deanne Ramsey pattern, as I said, was a paid pattern, but I received as a gift. This one was a paid pattern. I don't know, because normally I just put in free patterns and see what comes up. And I think I even just found another one of the designer's patterns, and then I went and looked her up on Instagram, because Hailey Bailey has, I think it's Made by Hailey Bailey is her Instagram account, and she makes beautiful stuff. So I found this shawl. It's a scarf shawl. It's a triangle scarf, and it's mosaic crochet, I would say. The way I could be wrong on that, but it's like creating shapes within it. First time I've ever done it. So one of my rows is slightly off, but then the rest is all really good. So I'm going to show you just the photo and the name so you can search it if you do like it, because it is a paid pattern. So look at this one really close, and hopefully you can see that. So Hailey Bailey is the designer, and it's the Aureole Triangle Scarf. So my big scarf, I'll then put that down there, is all finished, and I took to my Instagram page. I am on Instagram just as Katrina Chadwick. Trina Chadwick. Feel free to follow if you would like to see what I make and as I make it, because I usually post it onto Instagram quicker than I get it on the videos. But I was finished, so I have, this is a really wide one, so this is my Aureole Triangle Scarf. So I've got tassels, and I wasn't sure whether to put tassels on it, and I went to my Instagram, like I was saying 2 seconds ago, sorry, totally sidetracked, but I asked everyone, I said tassels or no tassels, tell me what you think, and I completely forgot to check it by the end of the 24 hours, but I asked a friend who crochets, and she straight away said, yeah, nah, tassels, do it. So I just took her advice and did it. I did check probably a couple of hours later, and it was like 80% yes for tassels and like 20%-ish saying no tassels. And then my husband did check it, and it was like getting closer and closer to being like the same. But I totally forgot to check and screenshot, because I really wanted to screenshot what everyone said. I don't know, because now the story's gone. I should have saved it, possibly, and then I would have been able to look at it. But, you know, still learning. But the yarn is what I had on my stash. Now, I think I shared in like maybe the first or second video I ever made was a blanket, does that make sense? A chevron blanket, which did not happen. I was just not getting the stitch count, and as I said before, I'm notoriously bad at counting the number of stitches in any given row, so I'm shocking. So I had to frog it, and I just undid it, and I just left it for myself to to find another use for the yarn, because obviously it's beautiful yarn, I didn't want to waste it. So it is Lion Brand Heartland, and the blue here is Olympic. Yeah, so this blue here is Olympic. This grey is Katmai. Kmai or Katmai. My colours are the blue and the grey, and then the third colour in this one is the Lion Brand, which I don't have the ball band, but Lion Brand jeans yarn, and the colourway is Top Stitch. So it's a beautiful mottled light brown caramel colour, and I really like it. So overall, I'm really, really happy with this, and I've worn it actually to work. I was working 2 weekends ago, and someone saw me wearing it, and they're like, oh, that's really lovely. And I work in retail, I work in a clothing store, and I said, oh, thank you, I actually made it. And they're like, oh, that's really lovely, you should sell them. And I was like, oh, that feels really good. So obviously people like it. The only issue I had with this pattern was myself. When I did the first stitch of the starting chain, and then there's an increase on either ends as you get further and further along with the triangle itself, I over counted it. So in one of my triangles, it's slightly to the left rather than being to the right. So one triangle isn't quite perfect, whereas the bottom row, the triangles are really good. And it's only if you look really closely that you can see, as the pattern calls for, I carried the yarn throughout. So I didn't cut the yarn every time, excuse me, every time I did a row or a little section into each of the bits. When I was doing this mosaic pattern, I carried the yarn through. So because of the two high contrast colours, you can notice it if you look really, really closely, but I think that was just my intention as well. So I will insert a larger photo of this one as well, just so you get a good idea of what it looks like, because when it's all laid out, it just looks amazing. I'm so happy and pleased with that one. So I'm just going to pop this on the ground too, and the ball band. So they were my two shawls that I had done. Sorry, that I had completed. Proper English. I apologise. My baby brain is really kicking in at the minute, so I'm becoming really slack with my speech. And today, when I dropped off my son, one of the preschool teachers said, how was your Easter? And I said, yeah, my Christmas was really good. Oopsies. Oh well, it's all good. She got it. She had a laugh. We had a chuckle. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. She's like, you've got an excuse. It's fine. Oh, sorry. So I got those done, and I was really happy that I had 2 shawls completed in the month, but I had some bad news. So the week before, I think it was like a couple of days after my last video, like actual filming of it, I found out that my nan, who was 71, was sick and had passed away. And it was horrible, because I have such great memories of my nan, and my uncle and I had just moved all her things. She used to live almost an hour away. No, sorry, more than an hour away, about an hour and a half away from us. And we just didn't have the financial means to constantly go up to visit her. So it was not like I could do it every week and be up at her place constantly. And because of some family drama, I wasn't seeing her as much as I would have liked. So we had moved her down, so she was 15 minutes away, and I was there 3 and 4 times a week, constantly seeing her, having lunch, having cups of tea, and my boys loved it. She was in a beautiful little 1-story home when she was in a 2-story originally, which was another reason why she had to move, and it was just great. And unfortunately she passed away, and it was my son, my eldest son, he's 4, just going on to 5 in September, so he's starting to grasp what a loss means now, with a person in particular, because we've had 2 funerals this year, and we had a funeral in December of last year, so there's a couple very close together, and it's been upsetting. But why it relates to my crochet is that my nan taught me to crochet, and she knit as well, but as her eyesight got progressively worse, she couldn't keep up with her knitting, so she would just crochet and make granny squares and then make them into big blankets. So she gave me her staff when she moved, because she said she couldn't keep up with it anymore. Her eyesight was just way too gone. She had cataracts in one of her eyes. I don't know if she had in both, but she's a bit poor with her eyesight, and so I received a lot of her yarn, mostly acrylic stuff, and I got a whole heap of patterns, which is what I've got just here. So I have all these vintage patterns from, I would say, as far back as the 60s, but predominantly the 80s and 90s. So there's, you know, baby blankets and baby items. There's beautiful sundresses and doilies. Oops, sorry. Doily patterns. And this one's a whole booklet, so it's, that one's from the Yarn Company patterns, and it's got knit and crochet stuff in it. So the first half is knit and the last half is crochet, and it even has stitch guides, like how to do it as well, which I thought was pretty neat, because in case they call it something different, I can't just go back to my nan now and say, what was that stitch called? Is there a difference in names or anything like that? So that's really good, and it gives me lots of ideas. So I'm keeping all the crochet stuff. I don't knit, so I am hoping to be able to give that to someone soon. But with the acrylic, I made a headband. So this is Atlas is the brand, and it's very old, so you wouldn't be able to get this anymore, but it's Sim Panda, and I'm pretty sure there was a little sticker on here that said polyester, 100% polyester. So it is in a lovely burnt orange, and this one doesn't fit me. I made the smallest size in pattern, and the pattern is free. It is Hobby, and it's just called Headband with a Twist. It's a free pattern. You can get it off Ravelry, and then it directs you to the website, and then you just, I think you have to enter in your email address for the newsletter, and that automatically allows you to download it for free. So that is the details, and a picture of the lady wearing it. So I decided to go with the small size first, with a circumference of 16.5 inches. And it does not fit my head. That was absolutely fine, because my plan is to make quite a few of these, because I really like the pattern and how it looks. Love this beautiful crossover here. And my plan was that as long as they looked nice and they come together really nicely, I can sell a couple on my local buy swap sale. We're in autumn going into winter, so if I can get a couple made up and then see if anyone would be interested in buying them, then that also is functional in the sense that I am getting rid of my acrylic without chucking it out or without donating it, because a lot of the time I see all this acrylic yarn donated, to thrift shops and op shops, where in the area where I live, and it just sits at the bottom of a tub, and like no one ever really buys it unless they've got something specific in mind for it, and it just gets chucked out. I've heard so many stories of it just being chucked out, which is wasteful. That's just wasteful. So if I can make some headbands that people can chuck in the washing machine, teenagers, mums, ladies in general would love this. And then obviously I can make a couple of beanies as well with some of the darker colours for blokes and boys and kids. So I have this beautiful burnt orange one finished. It is the small size. It doesn't have a sizing. It has 4 different circumferences for the head on the pattern. I'm just looking at the pattern here. 16.5, 17 inches, 18 inches and 19 inches. So I finished this yesterday, seamed it up, sewed in all the ends last night, and I've got to take some photos today to put on Ravelry and for my Instagram. So I'm going to share that one because I really like it. So I would leave that just on my feet. So then, oh, it's tucked in my backy. So then I've got this beautiful acrylic yarn. This one is acrylic, that I had, pretty sure I'd made an amigurumi toy out of some of this, like a very small portion, maybe 20 grams, and it was a 100-gram ball. So I had, that's just for colour. So it's an off-white, slightly grey. I would say it's more grey, like a very, very light grey. You're going to hear things just plopping in the background. That's my little man. He's just woken up. He is 3, so he's just playing with his toys. So I have not finished this one, but I have started. So you start by making the edge and you repeat back and forth and you create like a rectangle, and then when you get to it you work halfway across and go up, and then you work starting fresh and do a crisscross and then finish it. Now I don't feel like I'm giving anything away because it is a free pattern with that, and if you want to know the stitches that are used in it, you can then go look them up. So there's a little end that I have sewn in. I've just got to weave it back in again just to be safe. Up here, the obviously starting end, and then this one here from where it splits. And then when this bit then keeps working, this is my attached piece, when it'll keep being finished, then there'll be an end there. So there'll be 4 ends in total, which is nothing. And then you just leave a really long tail and sew the 2 ends together. This one is going to be the 19 inch. Yeah, 19 inch, the largest size. So I'm hoping the 19 inch will either be my head size, if not a little bit bigger, and then I can work down from there or even up. I'll do the in-between sizes as well. So even if I make one of each size, and then I can offer that as like a extra small, small, medium, large, say, or small, medium, large, extra large, whatever. And obviously people can then try them on, and if they're too big or too small and they want them bigger or smaller, I can do that as well. But then that's, yeah, practical. I want one for myself, having seen it on this doll, so I'm hoping to make one because I just think it looks fantastic, and they'll look lovely on if I've got my hair out like this in a messy bun, which I do often do when I'm just sitting at home, not going out. As you can see, my fringe and stuff is getting a bit long, and when that happens I just, especially on a windy day like today, these are great for where I live. It gets as cold as -10 Celsius, so it's well and truly below 30 Fahrenheit, but I do not know exactly what the Fahrenheit on that is. You'd have to convert it, sorry. But it gets quite cold in winter overnight, and then it stays at below 0 during the day. Yeah, when it gets that cold. So we don't get snow, we just get cold. So this would be great. So that is my last project to show you, because that is all my yarn and all the patterns that I've got. But the last thing I wanted to show you and to show off, because it's great, is that I was at my Aldi, so the local supermarket, grocery store, that I know they've got them internationally, they've got them everywhere. I'm pretty sure they've got them in America. They don't have them in every town or every little suburb, but Aldi is all over the world. It's in Europe, and I don't remember the store and I don't remember exactly where, but our specials that come, so they stock their grocery items, but then they have specials every week. Yes, and there was a Mother's Day special on yarn, and I've never seen Bernat, like Yarn Inspirations Bernat yarn, in any other store besides Spotlight here in Australia. There might be specialty or yarn stores, like small boutique yarn stores, that would order it in or buy it, but it always goes really quick. And I'm on a couple of Facebook pages where we share and tell each other where all the yarn is and how you can get it. So I got this one. I got 3 balls of it whilst I was in Aldi, and it was $6.99 a cake, and it is Bernat Super Value Big Stripes. So I shall show you that. And this is the colorway Upbeat. So I'm not sure if that's good. Okay, so on these balls I have dark navy, like a teal green, white, yep, and then like a lime, yeah, it's our lime colour. So that's the colours, and then it goes back into white and pink. So I tried to get sort of as close as I could with the colouring inside the cake itself. I'm not sure what I'm going to make with those cakes, but that is all good. But I am going to go now because everyone's starting to make noise. So goodbye. Thank you for watching. Bye.